Join me as I dive deep into the world of wildlife conservation and try to uncover its darkest secrets. Can I handle what I find? Wildlife conservation is a cause that's close to many of our hearts. We're talking about protecting endangered species, preserving ecosystems, and ensuring that future generations can enjoy the beauty of nature just as we do. But there's a paradox here. While the goal of conservation is pure, some efforts can have dark sides. The challenges in wildlife conservation are numerous. Poaching remains a huge problem, with many animals being hunted for their parts, believed to have medicinal properties or for the luxury trade. Habitat destruction is another major issue, as human expansion and deforestation leave animals without homes. And then there are organizations that claim to be working for conservation but may not be as altruistic as they seem. Their intentions might be tainted by funding issues or ulterior motives. These organizations often have a lot of power and influence, which can lead to them pushing out local communities in the name of creating wildlife reserves. This can result in people losing their homes and livelihoods. The impact on local communities can be devastating. For example, in some African countries, conservation efforts have led to indigenous people being forcibly removed from their ancestral lands. The role of organizations in conservation can sometimes be a double-edged sword. On one hand, they bring in much-needed funding and expertise. On the other, their approaches can be heavy-handed, ignoring the needs and rights of local populations. This imbalance can lead to resentment and even more significant problems in the long run. It's a delicate situation that requires a nuanced approach. Exploring case studies, we find several instances where conservation efforts have led to unintended negative consequences.
In Africa, the creation of national parks has sometimes displaced local communities, leaving them without access to resources they depend on. In Asia, conservation projects have been linked to corruption, with funds being siphoned off for personal gain rather than being used for their intended purpose. In South America, conservation efforts have sometimes prioritized preserving certain species over others, leading to ecosystem imbalances. For instance, focusing on protecting jaguars might lead to a decrease in their prey populations, which can have a cascading effect on the entire ecosystem. It's clear that conservation isn't just about saving one species. It's about preserving the balance of nature. One shocking example that stands out is the case of a large NGO that was found to be involved in corruption, using donations for lavish lifestyles rather than actual conservation work. This kind of corruption undermines the public's trust in conservation efforts and diverts resources away from where they're truly needed. It highlights the need for transparency and accountability in conservation. The trade-offs involved in conservation can also be startling. For instance, in some cases, conservation efforts have led to the culling of certain species to protect others. This kind of decision-making can be controversial and raises questions about who gets to decide what species are more important than others. To wrap things up, the world of wildlife conservation is complex and multifaceted. While the goal is to protect and preserve, the methods and motivations can sometimes be questionable. It's crucial that we approach conservation with a nuanced understanding, recognizing the potential for unintended consequences. So, what do you think about the darker side of wildlife conservation? Have you come across any shocking truths or perhaps inspiring stories of conservation done? Leave your thoughts in the comments below.